Hi there and welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike and I'm excited to share another Divi tutorial with you. My goal here is to make learning Divi as straightforward as possible. Today we're going to see how to create a sliding push menu that comes out from the top. If you've been following any of my tutorials recently, you would have noticed that we're going on a bit of a menu series. With the last one that we created was the slide out from the bottom. So if that's something interesting, I'll link that in the top right hand corner, but I've got a few more that we've created before this. So there's like a whole menu series going on. But today we're going to jump into one slightly different, and that is this one, as I was explaining earlier, is that if you come here onto the Hamburger menu, you click on it, it slides down from the top. This helps to ensure that you don't waste real estate space. Like if the people come in here, you don't have to have a menu item that takes up a lot of space here, but you can rather focus on the items that you want them really to see. All right, so if I click, it comes open, get a nice little animation, and if I click, it closes, and it's all good. All right, if that's something you're interested in, just hit that like button below, and let's jump right in. Okay, so what I've done so far is I just created another page. All right, how do we do so? Is just that in Divi itself, in WordPress itself. Let's just jump out of here, jump out of here. So in Divi, we just go create a page, add page, give it a title, and say use the Divi builder. All right, once you've done that, you'll get given an option to build it from scratch, or use a pre-made layout, or build it using AI. For this tutorial, I clicked on use a pre-made layout, and then for that pre-made layout, I just typed in finance in the left-hand corner search tab, and then it gives me these layouts that you can use. I'm using the landing page one on the one that I'm showing you in this tutorial. So if you want to follow with exactly how I'm doing it, you can just follow those steps and you'll get to where I am. If not, just build this, use the principles from the tutorial, and you can build it into any design. Okay, let's close that off and let's jump right into this page. All right, so if we compare this to the actual page I showed you earlier, you'll see that the header is different, right? So over here, we can either build out this header over here as another section below it, or you could follow the other option, which is what I'm doing, is that I go and build it out in the theme builder. So you can get to the theme builder by going to Divi theme builder, and then you'll be faced with this. So yours might look different because I've already added some in here. But if you want to add in a new one, you just click on add new template over here, and you can select on how you want it to show. So you can just say specific pages, and I'm selecting this particular page, and then just at the bottom hit create template. So once you've done that, you should have something similar to what I have here. And I'll be doing the building from here. So I want to build out a custom header. So I'm going to say add custom header, and I'm going to say build custom header. Okay. Now everything I do in here, because of the way that I selected when I was building out the template, it's only going to apply to this one page. All right. That's the beauty of Divi, and that's how they make it very easy for us. All right. So everything I build to work in this style over here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to jump into this section over here. Okay. So I want to call this my push admin section, or push menu section. All right. That's just giving it a label so that if I jump into the wireframe or anything like that, I can ID which one I'm working on quite easily. All right. And then in the background, I want to give this a background color, and I want to give it 121212. All right. So that's just giving it that same dark color, so that it will work in quite nicely. All right, and then the next thing that I would like to do is to go design and just give this padding 0. So I just want to take away any excess spacing that might be given here. All right, now one thing to note is when building out this kind of sliding animations and all these kind of things, we're going to need to add in some custom code. All right, so I have written an article over here on my blog that you can access. I'll link it in the description below so that you can easily access it. but it will have most of the code that you'll be requiring. Not all, because I believe some of it you need to practice to learn how to use this code. So it's good practice just to do so. All right, so very first thing, I want to just grab the DD push menu here. The reason I want to do that is because we need to add in some custom classes that we'll target for the CSS and the JavaScript later. So if we come here, advanced class, and I want to hit CSS, I just paste that in there. Notice I don't add the dot or anything like that because that will be added by Divi itself. Right, you can add in your own custom one you put here. Just remember to use that exact phrasing when we do the code later. Otherwise, it will not work. All right, now we're going to just add in a little bit of custom CSS. And so for this custom CSS, let's close this one, go into the custom CSS module elements, and we're going to be working here in the main element. And we want to only do this for tablet. So what we want to do is we want to hit height, if I can spell correctly. And we want to use a function here, calc. So what calc is going to do for us is that it's going to take, if I take this away, you see it's taking 100 VH. So it's 100 of the vertical height of your device that you're using, meaning it's going to take up the whole space on the device, right? But we don't want that. We want to do a calc. So we want 100 VH minus 70 pixels. Okay, so now what we're basically telling it to do is that we want it to have a height of the full screen, but minus 70 pixels at the bottom. Okay, and then we want to make sure that we also put in overflow scroll. So if it does tend to be the case of we have more items than takes up that space, we want to make sure that we're able to scroll down and see the rest. Okay, once that is done, we jump out of here and let's go back to desktop. Okay, and in desktop, we can now start adding our row. Our very first row, add in a single column. And then we jump into the settings of this column. All right, design, we want to sizing, custom gutter width. I want to put that to 1. I want to make sure our width is 100%. And our maximum width is 1280. Okay, once that is done, can jump into spacing. And just like before, we want to add in some padding. All right, but this time we want to make it a bit bigger, so it's 3VH. Okay, working again with the vertical height. So you can see I typed in the VH, but it's disappeared. The reason for that is Divi 5, they put it right in here where you can select all the different types that you can do. Okay, and we just want to push that across as well. All right, then we can close spacing and let's jump into border. So for border, we want to do a bottom border. All right, we want it to show here at the bottom, because basically what we're building out now is we're building out this section over here. Okay, so let's jump back to that. And we want to put in that border. We want to put it maybe 1 pixels, not too much. And then in my case, for my design, I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I'm going to bring this transparency down to 20%. Okay, so for your design, that might be a different value. Like if you're using a lighter design, you're probably going to want to use something like 255, 255, 255. Okay, so once that's done, we're now going to add in some more CSS. So let's jump to the advanced. Make sure we are still on desktop, custom CSS, module elements, and main element. So under main element here, we want to make sure we display flex. All right. Not sure anybody else is looking forward to when they actually integrate flex into the Divi builder, because I sure am. I'm going to justify the content, and we're going to justify it to the center. All right, and then the final thing is we just want to align the items also to the center. So basically we're just aligning everything to display centered whenever we want to put anything inside there. All right, then let's change this over to tablet. And for tablet, we're going to also display this as flex. And then this flex direction, we want to make it a column. And also we want to make sure that this is aligned items center. Okay, so once that's all done, we want to go back to content, and then we want to jump into the column settings itself. Okay, once you're in the column settings, we also want to center this. So if we jump again to the module, we can go, you can probably also copy and paste this, but I'm just going to type it out quickly. So it's the display flex, then it's going to be the justify content center, as well as the align items center. Okay, so that's going to align everything nicely inside of our column. And then what we want to do is we now want to go and add in our buttons. Okay, so let's go here and add in button. All right, so there's a beautiful, nice, terrible. All right, so button we have over here, and we want to, so basically let's just go back so you can see what you're building. We're building out these buttons. That's what we're referring to when I'm talking about buttons. Okay, so I think I got the wrong color here though. Anyways, because we're building that out, let's change this to the yellow. All right, and then we jump back into the button, and we can say design. All right, link. Okay, go back to desktop. There we go. All right, so silly. Okay, so we want to just put in a hashtag here for now, because it's supposed to be a link, but I don't actually have a real link for it to go to. So I'm just going to put in the hashtag. All right. Then what we want to do is go and give it a bit of custom. All right, so for background, I want to give it yellow, just like for this one here. I want to give it yellow. Okay, but for my button, design button text, I want to give this 121212. So then it's giving it that same as the background that it would be on the bottom. All right, so button border, I'm going to put that down to 0. So I don't want any border showing. And yeah, let's go button text again. I want to make this my Sans, make it heavy so that it can clearly see what it is. Then we can put in a button icon. What did I put in? I put in the bulb, right? Let's see if it pops up. Yep, there. Just use that one again. And we want to put that bulb on the left hand side. Okay. So let's go click here. I'm just going to go back here and just say design. Okay. Once that's set up, then what we can do is we come back to the column, jump back into the row. And so we have that column over here. But what we want to do is we want to duplicate this column. So just click this button over here, duplicate 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives us the 5 items that we have. Okay, so once that is done, let's add in another row. Now you can add in another row and create everything again, or what we can do is we can actually just duplicate this row. So we got the same sizing, the same padding and everything. Okay, so once that's open, we now want to jump into this row, which we are. Okay, and then let's just delete all these columns except the first one. Okay, keep that first column. All right, the difference now with this one is that we want to make sure that our sizing, which is 1280 max width here, we want to push that down to 1080. So then that brings us that thinner view that we would get on this one over here. Okay, so that's looking okay. And then the other thing we need to do is we need to take off this border. We don't want this border showing at the bottom there. So border. And we want to look border bottom, and we just take that down to 0. Okay, once that's done, let's now look and give it the column on the right here. So if I jump into the column settings and I go design and I go border, I look for border right and I make that 1 pixels. And then just like the other one is set to, I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I pull it down to 20. There we go. All right, so I'm just getting that same border like the top border that's over there. Okay, then I jump into my button, and in design, I just want to change a few things. Go to button text. Button letter spacing, I want to make that 2. I also want to change this heavy to semi-bold. Okay, I've already got it on caps, that's good. And I also want to go button icon. Don't want to show any button icon. The button icons are for the top, but not for the bottom. Okay, and then that is it. That's all I want to do for that. So what we can do is we can jump back to content, go to row, and once again we have a column over here. We want this to be 4 items, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and there we go. Okay, but we don't want the one on the end here. So if we jump into the final column, just go design, go border, right column, and we just make that 0. Okay, that's starting to look a lot like what we want. All right. Now what we need to do is we need to build out the actual menu. So it'll be this section over here. Okay. So we'll add another section and we just say regular. Close that off. Let's jump into the settings of this section first. And you can call this one menu header. Okay, so that's going to be the actual menu, the header menu. And then we also want to make sure that this is set to 0 padding for both. Take out that excess padding that you usually have. And then we can add in the row. Okay, so for the row, we want to add in the 3 column one for the 3 that we saw earlier. So for this section, I do want to have the background of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, this is dependent on your design. But then I want to jump into the row settings here. Design, sizing, custom gutter width, and I'll bring that down to 1. Width of 90% and height of 70 pixels. Okay, so that's looking pretty decent. I also want to make sure that this row sizing, okay, spacing also has padding 0 and 0. Okay, we don't want any excess spacing around it. I want to add in some custom CSS to the main elements of this one. And I'm sure you can guess what this is going to be. It's display flex and align items again where? To the center. Okay, that'll vertically center the columns within the row. Then we want to add the button. All right, so this one we want to say sign up. We want to make sure we go do some custom styling. So button background, I want mine to be 121212, and then text, change that to comme sans, and let's also make it semi-bold. Okay. I think that looks okay. Let's jump onto the next one. The next one is the logo. So there's two ways to do this. One is you come in image and you can say just add in the image. The other way is you can go insert dynamic content, and over here you can say site logo. So site logo then will pull from, if you're in your theme options and you add in a logo there, it will then display here. Right, but I'm just going to go and add in the image. I'm not going to worry about that for this tutorial. So there it is over there. And I want to make sure that this is aligned to the center. I want to make sure that my maximum height is set to 55 pixels. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in the hamburger menu. So there's a couple of ways you could do this as well. You could use just like a regular icon from adding in a blurb menu here. But for this tutorial, I think it's quite cool if we can do it with that transition. So we're going to do this by adding in a text module. So I've added in a text module here. And then what we do is we jump to the article, and here, hamburger menu option, or HTML, we just copy that, come back to the theme builder, the text, and we just paste that in here. Okay, once you paste that in, you won't see anything because it's the same color. So I'm going to go background here and I'm just going to make it yellow. All right, so once I've made that yellow, I'm going to go to design, text, and this text color I want to make, okay, I'm sure you guessed it, 121212. And I want to make sure that the sizing, my width is set to 70 pixels. I want to align it to the right, and I want my height also to be 70 pixels. Okay, so it's just following what we've done. Then spacing, I want to make it 20 from top and bottom, and I want it to be 16 left and right. Okay, and then I want to add in the class. Okay, so if we want to see where that class is, we go back to the article, hamburger menu class, you just copy and paste. Put that in there. Okay, once that is in, we need to add the code. Okay, so to add the code, there's a couple of ways you can do this. One is you can jump into the backend. You can go Divi Theme options. This is for the CSS. And right at the bottom, you can add in all of your CSS code over here, should you want to. All right. For your JavaScript, you can add it in here using the integration. You can add it in. Okay. But for this one, because we're building out just this one page and we only want it to be displayed on this one page, I'm just going to use a code module. So just add code module. All right. And then over here, we can add in the code. So if you want the code, again, we just jump back to the article. First, we'll start with the CSS code. So if I select everything inside here, I copy, I go back, and I just paste it in here. So it's all done. You can see everything comes out nicely. And if I just enter once or twice there, I then can go and grab the JavaScript code as well. So I just copy, come back to the theme builder and paste it in. Okay, so that's in there as well. Right, now what you could do is, if you wanted to, you can go and change up all of these links. to what you want. So it could be design, develop, plan, I'm not sure, whatever you want to call it. It's entirely up to you. So I'm not going to do that in this particular one, but what I am going to do is I'm going to save all of this. It's definitely saved, right? Yeah, save draft. Also, I want to save my changes over here, and then I want to go back. Exit. And there we have it. All right, so it's all displayed quite nicely. And if I click it, there it comes. And it's working as we wanted it to. Now, there is one more thing that you can do to this if you wanted to, is that if you go back into your theme builder, back into the heading, you can click on the section settings. You can go advanced, you can go down to scroll effects, and you can say, I want to stick this to the top. All right, so if we save that now, and we go back, see now currently if I scroll, it's all gone. But if I refresh, and now I scroll, nothing happens. All right, save, exit, all changes saved. Let's try this again. Why are you not working? It's the right page. Yep, it's the right page. All right, let's go and have a look. The joys. Ah, it's the wrong one. Okay, advanced, scale effects. Stick to top. Save. Okay, let's have a look now. All right, so the reason it's kicked it down over here is because we have the other one also there as sticky. So let's just select that one. Advanced scroll effects. Do not stick. Save. There we go. Everything's working as it should now. All right, so a lot of times the learning comes through the issues that you face, it seems. All right, so if we click on this one now, there it is, all working quite nicely as it should. All right, from what I was hoping was going to be quite a simple and quick tutorial, actually turned out to be quite long. But hopefully you're able to stick it out, and hopefully it'll be useful for you. And if it is, do come back and let us show us how you've used it in your designs, so that we can all learn from each other. I'm planning to still post more Divi tutorials. Please do subscribe so that you can actually not lose out on any of them. And do leave some comments below, if there's any questions or even suggestions for future videos that you might have that I can also create for you. With that, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.